The North and South Node is really important to have a look at and to understand in your natal chart if you're trying to understand why you are here, what your soul is trying to achieve. We all have specific struggles that we will have to endure throughout our lives, and the North and South Node is a very strong indicator of what the individual's specific struggles might be. Our soul, in essence, came here to learn a specific lesson, and the North and South Node can indicate to us what this lesson is. In today's video, I'm going to talk about the North Node in Capricorn or in the 10th house, and what is the sole purpose of a person who has their North Node in Capricorn. So the North Node represents what you need to evolve towards. It represents certain traits and qualities that you do not possess, but that you need to learn throughout your life. The South Node, on the other hand, is literally opposite the North Node and is always the opposite sign of the North Node. The South Node indicates where you come from, what you already know, the traits and the qualities that you already do possess. The South Node also represents the past life and what your soul experienced within your past life. A person who has the Capricorn North Node comes from a Cancer South Node. With their Cancer South Node, in their past life as well as in their early life, they have a very strong need for people to take care of them. Independence is something that these natives can really struggle with because in their mind, the only way they can really survive is if people look after them, is if people provide for them, and if people care for them. These natives can lack a very strong sense of confidence and a confidence in their ability to look after themselves and sustain themselves. They spend a lot of time on their relationships as well as other people, but they do not spend much time developing skills and developing abilities that can help them further themselves in this world. Capricorn North Node natives have an incredibly strong need for security and assurance. But the problem is they believe that they cannot focus on becoming successful, focus on professional success or developing skills unless they have a solid foundation, unless they feel protected, sheltered, and nurtured enough. But the problem is they never really feel protected, sheltered, and nurtured enough in life to actually be able to develop their skills and to work on furthering themselves in life. Often this lack of feeling protected and sheltered and loved can cause them to have very gloomy, depressing moods where they do not have the motivation whatsoever to build on their sense of self. Capricorn North Node people are highly emotionally dependent on other people. What I mean by this is Capricorn North Node people will form relationships with people. They'll have family members, they'll have children, and their happiness and sense of purpose is entirely dependent on these people. What ends up happening when these people move away from them, when they pull away and they start focusing on their own purpose, and they focus less on the Capricorn North Node individual, the Capricorn North Node individual can become lost. They can feel like they have no purpose because they were so highly dependent on this other person, because their sense of purpose was entirely dependent on the relationship with another person or particular people in their life. Because Capricorn North Node individuals come from a Cancer South Node, they want to feel close and connected to their family. They want to feel loved and protected by their spouses, by their children, by their siblings and their parents. They feel happy and at peace when they know there are people around them that really love them and care about them. But the problem is that even though the Capricorn North Node individual is so fully and wholly dependent on other people for their sense of purpose and happiness, other people are not dependent on the Capricorn North Node for their sense of purpose and happiness. And often these people will go on their own paths, they'll follow their own dreams. They'll do their own thing and they'll leave the Capricorn North Node feeling alone. And when this happens, a Capricorn North Node person can go through incredibly depressive moods. Learning to become a strong, confident, independent adult is one of the most important lessons that a Capricorn North Node needs to learn. Learning that they cannot always depend on their relationships with people. They can't always depend on other people to make them feel secure and to make them feel whole and confident. And that even though they believe that they'll gain their happiness through being dependent on others, they don't. And even though other people do give them the love and nurturing they require, they still feel empty because they haven't built on a sense of self. They haven't created an inner and external foundation for themselves in this world that they can lean and rely on. The only thing that they really can lean and rely on are other people. These natives can go to two extremes. The first extreme is where they lean into their Cancer South Node way too much, and they see nothing beyond their emotional space. Their emotions overtake them. They can't think logically, and they struggle to actually keep themselves composed, to be productive, and to actually act maturely in particular situations because their emotions constantly get the better of them. Capricorn North Nodes are incredibly emotional and incredibly sensitive. If you say the wrong thing to them, they will withdraw themselves from you for days and possibly cry in their room. When they're in this Cancer South Node extreme, they have no sense of self. They have no confidence in their self, and they rely entirely on how other people treat them and perceive them in order for them to feel okay. The other extreme they go to is their Capricorn North Node. When they go to this extreme, they actually do not really see the people in their lives whatsoever or consider their emotional needs. When they're in this extreme, they're actually highly self-focused and they can only see what they want and what they want to achieve. They can possibly walk all over everybody in their life or take advantage of these people in order for them to reach their goal and to get what they want. Very often, when a Capricorn North Node is in this extreme, people can feel very used by them. They can feel very taken for granted by them. But it's quite ironic because when they're in their Cancer South Node extreme, they're so dependent on other people that feeling taken for granted by the Capricorn North Node is almost impossible at that point. Because Capricorn North Node people are very dependent on other people for their sense of self, for their confidence and their happiness, they often blame other people for everything that has happened in their life, or they put their responsibilities onto other people. These natives find it incredibly challenging to take on responsibility themselves and to own this responsibility. They actually avoid responsibility at all costs, which is quite ironic because one part of them really wants authority. One part of them really wants to be respected and recognized. But at the same time, they don't want to take on the responsibility that is required for them to receive the respect and recognition that they want. Capricorn North Node then gets incredibly upset because people don't respect them. They don't recognize who they are and what they can do. But the problem is, people lose respect for them because they can see that they're avoiding responsibility. They're avoiding taking charge. And they're often just taking their responsibilities and expecting other people to do it for them. These natives need to find a goal, they need to find a purpose, and they really need to stick to it. The reason why a lot of people will not have great amounts of respect for a Capricorn North Node is because they can recognize their lack of purpose. They can see that the Capricorn North Node doesn't live for anything greater. They can see that they're lacking ambition. Capricorn is one of the most ambitious and determined signs that exists. However, because Capricorn North Node natives can be very stuck in their Cancer South Node energy, they lack this ambition and determination, and they need to learn to develop this throughout their lives. Capricorn North Nodes can often blame other people for how their life has turned out. They can blame other people for all the things that have gone wrong within their life, but it's actually highly unfair for them to do this. Capricorn North Nodes feel like they have no control over their lives and that their lives are entirely in the hands of other people. But the thing is that they created this dynamic themselves where they were so overly dependent on other people that they gave over all the control and responsibility to these people that they now have no sense of control over their lives whatsoever. Because Capricorn North Nodes refuse to take control of their lives, they refuse to take on the responsibilities that are required for them to control their lives. They never feel like they're in control. But it's a catch-22 because they're the ones who put themselves in this situation. Capricorn North Nodes really want to feel safe, sheltered, and protected. They want to feel like they have a space that they can exist within, where they can be themselves and be loved. But the thing is, they always expect other people to provide this environment or the space to them. They always expect other people to create these conditions for them, and they do not really take charge in creating this life for themselves. Once a Capricorn North Node connects with some higher purpose or some goal that can motivate them and can drive them, and they allow themselves to pour their energy into this instead of pouring their energy into all these emotions that they're feeling, they will gain a sense of confidence and they'll gain a sense of control over their lives that will make them feel happy and complete. These natives have such incredibly powerful and intense emotional needs that it can actually be draining to those around them. If a person avoids responsibility, if a person avoids structure, if a person avoids working hard and focusing on something that can help them grow, that can help them develop a skill or a talent, that can give them the ability to look after themselves and support themselves. If a person hardly ever does this and all they're ever really focused on is their emotions and other people, they will eventually have incredibly strong emotional needs that are entirely dependent on others. That is why it is very important for these natives to remove themselves from other people, to stop worrying and focusing on the lives of other people, and to develop something for themselves, to work on a skill, a talent, to get a job that distracts them from everything. Capricorn North Node individuals are so overly concerned and worried about other people because it's natural for them. They come from the Cancer South Node, which is an incredibly loving, nurturing energy. But they waste so much of their precious time and resources worrying about other people. They can spend most of their days talking to people they know about their lives and their emotional problems, their life problems, the challenges they go through. And the Capricorn North Node is constantly focusing on this instead of actually growing and developing themselves. Their entire mind space is filled with other people's emotions, with other people's lives, and they hardly even get to focus on their own challenge. Now, when it comes to a career, what a Capricorn North Node will really excel in is having an authoritative position. The reason for this is because they can take their ability to understand the needs of people from their Cancer South Node. They have the ability to be highly caring and compassionate when working with other people, but at the same time, they need to work to develop their more responsible and structured side. So being in authority positions are actually incredibly healing for Capricorn North Nodes, because they can intertwine both sides of themselves and bring it into a beautiful balance and harmony. They have the ability to be this incredibly sensitive, authoritative figure, which people will gain lots of respect and admiration for. What Capricorn North Node people really want is to get people to work for them and to be focused on their goals so that they can reach their ambitions quicker. Capricorn North Node people recognize the importance in having relationships and connections with other people and using these people as resources in order for them to further themselves. A person who has not yet evolved into their Capricorn North Node side can actually act quite manipulative in getting other people to do what they want. But the issue is they need to learn not to manipulate and coerce people into getting them to do what they want through messing with their emotions, and to actually gain respect from people through what they have accomplished and through their ambitions and their goals. Important things for Capricorn North Nodes to learn is that they are not in control of other people. The way other people act and the way other people behave and the things that other people do, they cannot control, even though they desperately try to. The only thing they can truly control is themselves, but they're constantly losing control of themselves, getting frustrated at trying to control other people. And when these people they're trying to control don't do what it is they want them to do, they become highly emotional and they can blame other people for their lack of accomplishment, for their lack of ambition in life. Now, Cancer is also a sign that represents the past. It represents your childhood and your early memories and how you were raised. In essence, Capricorn North Node people can be highly obsessed with the past, and they think so much about the past. They get so lost in emotions concerning the past that they actually do not think of the future and the present in any sense. In order for them to truly evolve and to grow in this life, they really have to learn to let go of the past and to not let it bother them anymore. Capricorn North nodes are often put in these situations where people can emotionally drain them. They can have family members, or they will meet people who have extremely hectic emotional needs and emotional problems, and the Capricorn North node applies most of their energy and focus into trying to help this person. But the problem is that the Capricorn North node does not really have the awareness or the capability to really help this person, and they end up just feeding all their energy and all their resources into those they love and care about. They can be so overly focused on helping other people that they lose their own sense of self and their own sense of direction in life. Capricorn North node individuals come from a Cancer South node, where in their past life, they were a highly family-focused figure. Their family was highly dependent on them, and they were dependent on their family. They were the most important person in their household, and their entire life revolved around the happiness and the well-being of their family. What they're instinctively good at is being compassionate, is being emotionally available for other people, listening to other people, being that motherly figure that checks in on everyone and makes sure everyone is okay. But in their past life, their entire role revolved around their family and other people, and they actually did not get to develop this identity for themselves, which is what they're trying to accomplish within this life. When a Capricorn North node does not get what it needs, which is respect, which is control, the extreme side of the Cancer South node comes out, which is their emotional side that can often manipulate other people into trying to get them to do what they want. But the problem is other people can often immediately recognize this manipulation and they back away, leaving the Cancer South nodes to be even more emotional and to have even more emotional outbursts. What Capricorn North node people need to learn is to not use emotions, emotional outbursts, emotional manipulation to get people to do what they want, and they need to take charge of themselves and do these things for themselves. The more they rely on other people and the more they try and get other people to help them create what they're trying to create in their life through being highly dependent on them, being physically, financially, and emotionally and mentally dependent on these people, the more emotionally upset and unstable they will become because they're not focused on their purpose, which is creating a sense of identity and confidence and purpose for themselves, which is taking charge of themselves in their own life, connecting with themselves and identifying who they truly are, what their talents and their skills are, and what they can actually accomplish in this world. Once a Capricorn North node is able to do this, they have fulfilled their sole purpose. But as long as they remain emotionally dependent on people, as long as they blame others in the world for where they're at and they don't take charge of themselves, they will remain unhappy and unfulfilled until they do allow themselves to take charge of themselves. So this is my video on the Capricorn North node. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments what you thought of this video. Do you have a Capricorn North Node, and can you relate to what I've said? Do you know anyone who has a Capricorn North Node who behaves this way? Subscribe to my channel if you have not already, and check out the links below to my website to see what services I offer, as well as my Patreon if you'd like to see what the membership options are and support this channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.